This movie is called Scary Movie, but does it live up to the legacy of the franchise? Welcome back, everyone. Today we're here to talk about Scary Movie, which is a new 2026 film, but really is the 6th movie in the Scary Movie franchise. But you know, calling something Scary Movie 6 means that people might not go to it if they haven't seen the first 5. So here we are, because we want to appeal to the masses. But my question is, when it comes to parody films, how do those appeal to the masses? How do you feel about parody films? And do you think that they belong in film in general right now? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. We're going to talk about how this film fits in to where we're at right now in terms of the box office and films and comedies and even parody films. But before we do that, I do want to just acknowledge that I am happy to see the Wayans Brothers back. I didn't know this before I watched the movie, but apparently Scary Movie was a franchise that was taken away from the Wayans Brothers. I didn't know that. I knew that they were in the first 2, and then I really liked Scary Movie 3 as well. I liked the first 3. The first 3 were really good, but apparently in the 3rd one, they just took it away from them completely, and now, only now, they're getting it back. So I'm happy for them to have this back, but I do have some notes. And I will say, I do think it's kind of cool that in the movie, they talk about this a little bit, about the history of Scary Movie and where we've been. So while there are funny jokes in Scary Movie, there are a few funny jokes here for sure. I do feel that most of the jokes that we see here are not as funny because they tend to overstay their welcome. So there's a lot of jokes, but there's a lot of them that fall flat. Granted, the comedic timing that we have in this film still absolutely flawless. I have to say, as comedic actors, the Wayans Brothers, Regina Hall, Anna Faris, all of them still got it. And we have some new actors who have been added to the cast that I thought did a pretty good job keeping up with these comedic legends. My favorite scene is actually one with Anna Faris, and it's when her daughter, her estranged daughter, Sarah, and Sarah's boyfriend come to see Anna Faris in her house, which is a reference to the death trap house that you may have seen in Final Destination Bloodlines. And they come to visit her there, and she's hiding out, and she's trying to plot, you know, how do I handle Ghostface if he comes back? And I think that whole scene is just comedy gold, and it's really nothing to do with the script or what's even happening in it. It's just Anna Faris. It's Anna Faris's line delivery as Cindy. She is just absolutely amazing in it, and I couldn't stop laughing. And there are some moments where I felt that, where I just laughed throughout an entire scene. Another scene that I really liked is one where Kai Cenat is there and they're making fun of streamers. And as a streamer, you know, I was wondering, what are we going to be saying here, and will it actually be funny? And I have to say, it was pretty funny. They even had a wheel, which I am a streamer that uses a wheel, so I loved that. And I think what's really great about that joke is that we also have Kai Cenat there. So Kai is in on the joke with you. So they actually went and got a prominent streamer and brought them in on the joke. And that makes it more funny, and it makes it more fun for me to watch, to know that the joke is about how ridiculous streaming is, but it's not necessarily saying verbatim that streamers don't work. That's the joke. That's what everybody thinks, right? And it also fits into the plot because we've established in this film that Shorty is a streamer at this point. We also see some Dead by Daylight in it, which I loved. I thought that was really fun. And apparently Shorty's really good at Dead by Daylight because he has like 10 million blood points, which is crazy. So all of that felt like a good time. The streaming and the gaming stuff that we're joking about. And there's some meta commentary in this that I think is cool. We do that sometimes with Scary Movie where they'll break the fourth wall. And in this, they do it. And there is a moderate amount of success that I think they have with that. At the end, it gets very meta. But I think the problem that we have, although this might be more of a nitpick because I don't know how important it is, but we have horror movie that we're referring to, which is the horror franchise in Scary Movie that people refer to. And then we also refer to just the movie, Scary Movie. And sometimes it even seems like the script mixes up those two things accidentally. So I don't know if that was supposed to be a joke that they're mixing it up and it's supposed to be funny because like, oh, haha, we don't even know what we're talking about at this point. That's how ridiculous this has become. But it kind of just felt like an oversight, to be honest. So, I mean, it's not really that important, but it does get a bit confusing maybe at times. And once again, the meta stuff at the end just feels like it goes on too long. That's the other thing. There's a lot of speeches that happen and I'm like, okay, I understand, but let's move along here. I feel like it's also really hard right now maybe to parody popular movies, especially in the horror genre, because some of our best film right now is coming from the horror genre. Some of the most successful things at the box office. I mean, look at the box office right now. We have Backrooms, we have Obsession, and both of those films are at the top of the box office, not just because people want to be scared, but because those are films that actually have something to say, that have a very strong through line, that have a very strong directorial vision, which means that right now it's hard for you to make fun of those films when they are some of the best films ever. I think back to the original Scary Movie films and just what horror was doing at that time. And I think while we did have some good horror films, a lot of the horror at that time was also doing a lot of predictable things. And when Scary Movie first came out, it was being used as a vehicle to make fun of also problematic tropes in the horror genre. It was calling out things like racism in film. And now it's doing things like making fun of Sinners and Get Out, which are two horror films that exist to showcase problems in regards to racism. So you're kind of attacking the things that, I don't know, it feels weird. And I understand that this is a film where it's supposed to be no holding back. We're coming after everyone. We're making fun of everyone. But the problem is with comedy, when you decide you're just gonna make fun of everything, it means that you don't really have as much to say as a comedy. And a lot of the movies that they make fun of, although I did laugh at the Sinner stuff, at the Nosferatu post credits that we got, the Final Destination stuff in the beginning I thought was funny. It also did remind me of movies that I kind of would rather be watching because all of those movies are just better movies. I will say with Nosferatu, at least there's some really weird stuff in that film, so you can make fun of that and it can be funny, and I think Brosferatu was a pretty funny trailer idea. I think honestly, I would have preferred if we just had a series of parodying film trailers from the Wayans Brothers, because that was some of my favorite stuff in this. When they made fun of Michael by giving us Jermaine, that was perfect. That was great. I want more of that. And some of the stuff here, like I said, is kind of cringe because it lingers too long and it just makes you think of these movies you're making fun of that are actually great. Like the stuff with K-pop Demon Hunters. I think that could have been a funny joke if it was a lot shorter. And also there's just so many attacks on like Gen Z and Gen A and just about, oh, we're like different generations and the younger generations stuff is dumb. I feel like the generational humor is actually done best in this movie when we're attacking all generations at the same time, which they do at a point that was showcased in the trailer where one of the girls is attacked on the subway. I thought that was really funny because like everyone's being made fun of. But when you just go to attack the next generation or the generation below that, it feels a bit lazy to me. Honestly, it feels a bit lazy. And I'm not saying that because I'm part of that generation. I'm a 901-year-old vampire. I just think it's lazy to do that. There's also some stuff in this that just looks like bad, like special effects that just look bad. And I understand that that's supposed to probably be funny, but it's not funny. It just looks bad. And it kind of honestly took me out of the film at moments. There's also a lot of stuff that hasn't aged well in this. I mean, I was excited for Doofy to come back because I thought we were going to be doing something maybe new with that or evolving that somehow, but it's just the same jokes and we've already done them. And I mean, really, we're making fun of COVID. I appreciate that everyone fully commits to the bit, at least for all of the jokes that are in this, but COVID 2021 called and they would like their script back, please. When did they write these jokes? The plot also doesn't really matter. It's just used to carry us through all of the various jokes. And I know what you're probably thinking, in Scary Movie, do we really need a plot that's super important, Amanda? No, we do not. You are correct. We don't need that. However, you can do both. You could have a plot that is at least somewhat cohesive and isn't just a vehicle for jokes, and also have good jokes. You can do both of those things. I think that at the beginning of the movie, the first 15 minutes felt like we were setting up something that was going to be like that was going to be mainly making fun of the Final Destination and that story and Scream 7. And honestly, Scream 7 is a great film to make fun of because I didn't think that film was very good. So you could make fun of that horror movie and it would be more funny, in my opinion. And they do a little bit, but I think they could have done it more in this. So really, I guess my consensus is we have 100+ jokes that are funny about 30% of the time, where we could have, if we refined this a bit more, have had less jokes that have more layers to them that we keep coming back to that are funny 100% of the time. Because there are some genuinely good jokes in this, and yet I find those are the jokes we spend less time on, and instead we do the same stuff again and again that we've already seen in previous films that we're not doing anything new with, we're not saying anything new, and every time it comes back it's the same joke. Like, how many times are we gonna make fun of Doofy for being dumb and for being stinky, you know? I understand. I get it. They made that joke like 1 million times in this. So I'm a bit disappointed. I do still really like the Wayans Brothers, but honestly, this just made me feel that I would prefer a sequel to White Chicks. White Chicks is a movie that has less jokes, has more of a through line, and the jokes that they do have are something that they come back to and they open them up more. So there's just more depth to that film, which is crazy to think about, but there it is. That's my thoughts. So while I am happy to see the Wayans Brothers again on the screen, I'm a bit disappointed that this was how I saw them, because yeah, this just wasn't it for me. Granted, miles may vary. Humor is definitely very personal, so you might go and see this film and you might absolutely adore it, and you might go and see this film and think none of it is funny, and either be super offended by it or feel absolutely nothing. I think most people will be in that camp of feeling almost nothing, but I'm sure there are lots of people out there that still, like, laughed at everything. So regardless of what spectrum you're on, or if you're like me and you're somewhere in between where some things were funny and a lot of things were not, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, where you fall and what you thought about this and how you're feeling about parody films, because Spaceballs is coming and I'm hoping that it does a better job than Scary Movie. That's all I have for this one. I'll see you in the next one, and until next time, friends, as always, stay nerdy. Bye! And if you love hearing me talk about films, you need to check this out.